Welcome back to PickleInsights Life Unlocked. We are back again. My name is Dr. Priyank Gupta, your friendly neighborhood GP, with my co-host Prateek.
Hey folks, Prateek here, your resident tech guy. So good to be back. In our last episode, the architects of attention, we looked at how screens are engineered to grab your attention for profit motives. But today, I think, as we promised, we will look in deep dive into the solution mode. But plans have changed slightly, haven't they?
Absolutely, yes. So we went back, we deliberated a bit, and we realized, hang on, we have barely spoken about the impacts of those screens onto the families, our neck aches, our toileting habits, on a lot of things. So we thought, okay, we need to dedicate one more episode here. And yeah, so here we are talking about Beyond the Glow.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we will deep dive into how they're actually physically impacting not just the kids, but adults, relationships, the core foundation of the society, which is family, affecting your memory and productivity.
Exactly. So let's get into it. So, Prateek, let's kick things off with something very fundamental and close to us, our relationships with our partners. When we talk about screen overuse, our mind directly jumps to the kids, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that it is often is a silent and often an insidious intruder into our adult relationship as well.
Absolutely, it is. As a tech guy, I see these devices are becoming our constant companions, always by our side. But paradoxically, they can be the intruder or the barrier between us and our loved ones. We even have a term for it called phubbing, phone snubbing, where someone deliberately ignores their partner in favor of screen. A flick of a thumb, a scroll, a tiny look at somebody else's profile seems minor, but it isn't.
That's right, Pratik. Studies published in some reputed journals shows like high use of technology and clear association with couple conflict. A study published in 2009 showed the smartphone addiction amongst couple predicted the conflict amongst them. Just imagine you're trying to have a conversation with a friend or a partner and they are busy looking at the phone, right?
Just
How
like
would
that.
that just like that? How would that make you feel? Undervalued, unheard, not recognized. This digital device slowly chipping away in our most important and valuable relationships.
Exactly. It's like you're physically present, but your mind is somewhere else, miles away in the digital universe, watching some reels or TikToks. Research suggests the mere presence of a smartphone can cause conflicts, can cause emotional distances between couples. Rather than expressing each other's feeling, talking about how their day went, people are on their phone, doom scrolling, ignoring their partners. This emotional distancing built up over time can be incredibly damaging.
Absolutely. And it's not just emotional, the physical intimacy suffers too as well. The researchers have shown that smartphone users in the bed can reduce the physical attraction between partners, and particularly after a long day, as is when people in this modern world are often tired. This is leading into the early separations and more feeling of loneliness.
Now let's talk about something tangible. Something many of us probably feel at the end of the long day, the neck pain. It also has its own unofficial but a very real name called the text neck. And research suggests it's a growing issue.
Absolutely. And I see that very commonly in my day to day practice. Up to many years ago, these neck pains were associated with poor posture and to some professions. But now we are seeing more and more association with doom scrolling. Um, it's just not a simple stiffness, it's actually a serious pain. Imagine your head weight's about 5 kilos anyway. But when you tilt your neck forward by 15 degrees, the impact of that can be at least double, if not more. And at a common 60 degrees angle, the impact of force can be about 27 kilos. It's pretty much like carrying a child on your neck all the time. That is leading into chronic neck pains and postures and affecting the mental well being in turn.
No wonder people are complaining about chronic neck pains and headaches. That visual of a small child sitting on your neck really hits home.
Exactly. And look, this is all backed up by the research. A systemic review and a meta analysis in 2020, published in BMC Musculoskeletal Disorders, concluded that there was a real association of chronic neck pain and the smartphone usage. There's another meta analysis in 23 which showed that the frequency of smartphone use and the duration people were spending time had a direct relationship of neck pain, even amongst adolescents and the young adults.
Wait, so you're saying there's correlation between neck pains and screen use?
Absolutely. There is an undeniable correlationship between the duration and frequency of smartphone to the both severity and the chronicity of neck pain and also visible postural changes. It is a very real musculoskeletal problems that is directly linked to our modern digital habit.
Next up, let's explore a concept which sounds a bit alarming, but I came across this term in my research, which was digital dementia. So, can you tell our listeners what is digital dementia?
Absolutely. So, digital dementia is a term which is found by, or I should say, coined by neuroscientists from Korea. This was to describe the proposed cognitive decline with things like poor spatial awareness, memory impairment, decline in cognitive and analytical processing amongst the young individuals due to the screen overuse.
That's quite a claim. It sounds like something straight out of a sci fi movie. What's the science behind this?
Absolutely. But look, let me just clarify that it is not an official medical term and it is certainly not something not like Alzheimer's dementia. However, it's a concept that genuinely highlights the concern among researchers regarding potential decline in our cognitive function due to our digital habits. Studies and researchers have explored the idea of over reliance on these digital devices and our cognitive function.
And the theory suggests by outsourcing so much of our memory and navigation to our phones, we rarely remember any numbers. We just look them up in the directory, or we rarely know any directions because we just use the GPS.
Absolutely. We are essentially atrophying or under exercising certain parts of our brain which are very crucial for these executive functions.
Basically, if we do less mental heavy lifting, our brains might get a bit lazy. That makes certain intuitive sense.
Precisely. Researchers are actively looking into how this easy access to information and reduced need for recall is affecting our hippocampus, which is very important for memory formation and spatial navigation. Additionally, the constant task switching and the fragmented attention, which is common with heavy screen use, can affect our ability to focus deep and for sustained durations. This can in turn affect our critical thinking, complex problem solving, and long term memory formation.
And I think while more detailed longitudinal research is still emerging, the early signals are compelling to suggest that we need to be mindful of our habits, which are subtly reshaping our cognitive abilities. Let's talk about something that might make our listeners squirm a little, perhaps even chuckle. But it's very real world, everyday impact of screens resulting in increased toilet time. And let's not forget some other surprising physical impacts that generally fly under the radar but are very real.
It might sound a bit quirky, but it's a part of bigger and broader picture of how our screen habits are permeated into the every corner of our life. There is some interesting research pointing correlationship between sedentary screen time, particularly TV binging, and conditions like nocturia, where a person needs to get a few times during the night to use the toilet. The hypothesis is the sedentary lifestyle leads into the fluid retention, decreased circulation, hence reducing the metabolism and affecting some underlying condition like diabetes, which in turn make person to go to the toilet more and more.
So it's not just about what you're doing on the screen, but the fact that you are just sitting there potentially for hours.
Absolutely. And this ties into much more physical impacts than just the tech snack. It is very well documented that over screen usage affects obesity and cardiometabolic disorders, eye strains, or now we call it computer vision syndrome, disrupted sleep pattern due to the emitting blue light from the screens.
So, from your eyes to your bladder to your entire body composition, and even the very basic ability to sleep, screens are having much wider physical impact than just a sore thumb and a stiff neck.
It's truly pervasive, isn't it?
So, we've looked at the physical impact so far, but what about productivity? Are there any impacts on our productivity, be it work, studies, or day to day activities?
It's a very good question. In fact, the research is very clear on it. The constant distraction from these digital devices leads to very clear reduction in productivity. In fact, there was a meta-analysis in 2018 which showed that the constant digital distraction led to reduced productivity and increased time taken to complete any given task.
So it's not just a lack of willpower on our part. The very design of these systems and platforms makes it inherently difficult for us to stay on a task.
think about those constant pings, the irresistible urge to check social media updates, the nagging urge to check those emails one more time. What we call task switching, or in your world, context switching. It makes us less efficient, not more. Every time when we change a task, our brain needs to re-engage with the original task, costing us efficient time and also using a lot of our cognitive energy. This impacts our ability to concentrate deeply, leading to shallower work, reduced creativity, and overall lower output.
It's an overall silent drain on our potential and our productivity.
So, Prateek, we have talked about the physical impacts of screen overuse, we have talked about hit to the productivity, but let's tie it all together and look at the most untalked and often ignored, the immense financial burden due to these screen overuses. It has direct impact to our economy, our healthcare budget, and or to our individual wallet as well. This isn't just about discomfort, it's about real money.
Well, that's a very good point. If you consider the sheer scale of all the issues caused by excessive screen use, like digital eye strain, chronic neck pain, obesity, mental health challenges, the collective cost must be staggering. Are there any numbers or are there any studies that put out these numbers?
Absolutely. The numbers are actually truly eye opening. In 2023, the ResearchGate showed that there was $151 billion loss in the economy due to screen overuse and its impact. This colossal figure isn't just the healthcare expenditure, it was due to lost productivity, the impact on individual well being, and direct financial costs incurred by the health system. Another report suggested that there was about £118 billion per year expenditure to the UK economy, which is approximately 5% of their GDP, due to the screen overuse and its impact.
So it's not about just an occasional doctor's visit, it's a systemic drain on our national economies. It's like a silent tax on our digital lives, which we collectively pay whether we like it or not.
It absolutely is, and understanding this financial dimension adds another sense of urgency to this discussion. It's not just about feeling good, it's about being healthier, having productive and more economically sustainable future. So Prateek, what we have uncovered today really underscores the pervasive and hidden impact of these screen overuse onto our adult life, backed up rigorously by the research and the evidences. From the intimacy of our relationships to the health of our neck, our cognitive function, even those perhaps surprisingly physical habits like increased toilet time, the financial burden, screens are slowly but surely subtly changing our ways of living.
It's certainly a lot to take in, but it's crucial knowledge in understanding real evidence based impacts. It is the vital first steps towards making more conscious choices, advocating healthier digital environment for everyone. This isn't about demonizing technology, which we are both aware has incredible potential, but it's about understanding the impacts, both good and bad.
So, next time at Pickle Insights, we'll be talking about fostering healthier digital habits and how we can take control of our futures and our health. We'll be talking about online safety amendment bill and also some strategies which are in place which we can all use.
So don't miss out. Join us next time at Pickle Insights Life Unlocked. You can find us on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search for Pickle Insights. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment where you're watching this video from.
Absolutely. And but before you go, just a final reminder: this podcast we offer only general advice. You should seek professional medical help for your specific needs. Let's keep exploring the big questions together. We'll see you again next time.